I'm here to show you all how to use Virtual Waggle to build and test different plugin code for the Edge. What I've got here is the GitHub repo for Virtual Waggle, so there is a lot of documentation on how to configure and run this for your different use cases. Instead of going through all these details though, I thought it made more sense just to jump in and do a quick demo of how to actually use this. So the first thing I've got is a copy of the repo checked out on my machine. This has all the same tools you just saw in that GitHub repo. The first thing I want to do now is go ahead and spin up all the different services that Virtual Waggle uses. So I can do that with a simple Virtual Waggle up command. And what you'll see is it's creating the different network, storage, and different processes that are going to run to support my plugins. You'll also notice it says there's no registration key found. This is normal when I'm running locally and just doing development on my own machine. So the next thing I want to do is go ahead and start a plugin. So I'm going to ask Virtual Waggle to give me a quick template, and I'm going to make a plugin that I'm going to call Publisher. So Publisher is going to be created in a new directory called Plugin Publisher, and it's going to have a couple files in there to start us out. So let me go ahead and open that up and we'll take a look at what's in there. So the first thing is there's a Docker file in here. This goes back to what we talked about earlier, which is the Docker file is basically used to describe exactly how all this is going to get packaged up and shipped out for the Edge. The next file is this plugin.py. This is my actual code that I'm going to run. All this is trying to do right now is generate a random number, and it's just going to print out that number and then publish it under the name environment temperature here. And then it's going to sleep for a second. I've got some of my dependencies here. And then finally, what I've got is a file that the ECR is going to use to keep this plugin tracked and versioned. So what I'm going to do now is jump back to my plugin.py. Since we're in the demo, I'm going to change this up just a little bit. And I'm just going to say hello to everyone watching. And I'll save this. So now that we've got our code here, the next thing I want to do is actually build and run this. So to do that, I'm going to ask Virtual Waggle to build my directory plugin publisher. So what this is doing here is it's actually using that Docker file we had to sort of pull in all the different dependencies, package them up, and then at the end, it's going to give me a package that's called Plugin Publisher version 001. So that's good. Now what I can do is take that and run the package it gave me. So it says it's setting up this Plugin Publisher. We'll give it just a minute. And what we should see is it printing out that random number it said earlier. Yeah, there we go. So now it says it's publishing, and this is just that made up number we have, and it's even got the message that I added in the middle of the code edit I did. So let's stop this for a second. So that's interesting, but just running one plugin alone isn't that interesting. So let me go ahead and start a new tab here. What I want to do this time is make a second plugin that we're actually going to run alongside this one and have them talk to each other. So what I'm going to do is make a new plugin I'll call Subscriber. We're going to go through the same process before. This is going to create a directory called Plugin Subscriber with a lot of the same stuff. Same Docker file, same code, all that. This time I'm going to change it up quite a bit more though. So what I want to do is go ahead and tell my plugin to subscribe to that same topic that my publisher was publishing to. And what I'm going to do now is go ahead and fetch a message using my plugin. And what I'll do is I'll print the message and say, thanks for sending this cool message. And we'll save this. So I'm going to close these out. Just as a reminder, what we're expecting to see is when this thing is publishing messages, this other plugin is going to receive them and then print out a short message and show us the content. So let me close these out so we have a good view. And just so we can see all this running together, I'm going to split these into two different windows. Actually, I'll just maximize both of these real quick. So they're running side by side. We're going to do the same thing we did before. I'm going to have this build my plugin subscriber. Great, so that worked. Now I'm going to take plugin subscriber and I'm going to go ahead and run this. So the main thing to keep in mind is that right now the publisher is not running. So what we should basically expect to see is this is just going to sit here. And that's exactly what we see. So let's go back a step to the other window, go ahead and run that plugin publisher. It's going to set that up in the same way it just did the subscriber. We'll give this a second to start publishing. And there we go. So now as this thing's publishing, this data is actually getting sent into some of the core services running inside Virtual Waggle. Those services are then fanning this data out to all the people who are subscribed, and that's exactly what we see here. So we're seeing these same temperature values the publisher is sending over at the subscriber, and we even see this little message we inserted here. So now let's go ahead and start to clean up. So I'll stop the publisher. What you can see is that basically stopped the messages on the subscriber. So I'll go ahead and exit out of that one. And now that we're done, what we'll go ahead and do is just tell Virtual Waggle to clean up with this down command. So what this does is this stops all the services that we're running, and then it cleans up the different network configuration and any data storage that was used during this process. So that's basically it. As you can see, it's pretty quick to get started with a simple plugin. Building and running it is very straightforward, and you get all the feedback from your plugin right on your own screen. So thanks for watching.